Let's talk about ICE, not the stuff in your drink, but the federal agency that's become a lightning rod in America's immigration debate. ICE stands for United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, a powerful arm of the federal government tasked with enforcing immigration laws and protecting national security. Think of ICE as the government's interior police for immigration law, handling everything from deportations and detentions to investigating transnational crime, human trafficking, and smuggling operations. Created in 2003 in the wake of the 9/11 attacks, ICE was formed by merging parts of the old Immigration and Naturalization Service with the Customs Service, all under the newly established Department of Homeland Security. The goal was to strengthen America's borders and prevent future threats. ICE has two main divisions, enforcement and removal operations, which focuses on deportations, and Homeland Security investigations, which tackles international crime, cybercrime, and terrorism. But it's the enforcement and removal operations, those high-profile raids and detentions, that have made ICE infamous and thrust it into the national spotlight. Under the Trump administration, ICE's role became even more controversial. The agency adopted a zero-tolerance approach, targeting not just those with criminal records, but anyone living in the U.S. without legal authorization, regardless of their background or circumstances. This led to a dramatic surge in arrests and deportations, and the world watched as families were separated at the border. The images and stories sparked outrage, protests, and a wave of backlash across the country. For some Americans, ICE agents are seen as heroes, dedicated public servants upholding the law and keeping communities safe from dangerous criminals. For others, ICE has become a symbol of a broken, inhumane system, one that tears families apart and enforces policies many see as unjust or cruel. This deep divide has made ICE one of the most polarizing agencies in America, with passionate supporters and fierce critics often clashing in the streets and online. As of late 2025, the debate around ICE is more heated than ever, fueling a national political firestorm and dominating headlines, congressional hearings, and campaign speeches. The agency's actions are no longer just about policy. They've become a flashpoint in America's ongoing culture wars, representing much deeper questions about identity, security, and what it means to be American. And now, the question of what ICE should be, and whether it should even exist at all, sits at the very center of the country's identity crisis, forcing Americans to confront their values and the future of immigration in the United States. ICE's actions have become impossible to ignore, as their presence on city streets has grown more visible and controversial than ever before, especially now, as agents conduct high-profile raids wearing masks, a sight that has become increasingly common in recent months. The official reason for this new look? Protecting agents' identities from potential threats, both online and in person, as tensions escalate. But for many Americans, the sight of masked federal agents patrolling neighborhoods evokes a sense of unease, and even fear, stirring memories of authoritarian regimes from history. Critics, including some conservatives, have drawn disturbing comparisons to the Ku Klux Klan, arguing that the masks send a chilling message and undermine public trust. The use of masks, they say, creates an atmosphere of intimidation, making it harder for communities to hold agents accountable for their actions. Viral videos of ICE raids, sometimes chaotic, sometimes violent, have flooded social media feeds, offering a raw, unfiltered look at what's happening on the ground and challenging the administration's official narrative. These powerful clips have mobilized public opinion, sparking protests and putting immense pressure on government officials to respond to growing criticism. When a raid in New York goes viral, it's no longer just an abstract policy debate. It becomes a crisis that directly impacts a real community, with real people caught in the middle. The administration has even targeted those who film ICE actions, detaining or confronting bystanders, which critics argue is an attempt to suppress evidence and intimidate citizens who seek transparency. All of this has only escalated the conflict, turning ICE's enforcement methods into a national controversy that dominates headlines and divides communities. The agency's visibility and the backlash it faces has never been greater, marking a new and contentious era in American law enforcement. In response to mounting complaints and viral videos exposing questionable ICE practices, Democrats are moving beyond statements. They're building new systems to hold ICE accountable in tangible ways. The public outcry has pushed lawmakers to act, transforming outrage into action. States like New York have launched public portals for residents to upload evidence of alleged ICE misconduct, turning everyday citizens into watchdogs. These digital tools make it easier than ever for people to share videos, documents, and testimony directly with investigators, creating a new layer of public oversight. Illinois, meanwhile, created an accountability commission to formally document federal agent misconduct, warning even National Guard members of prosecution for unlawful actions. The commission holds hearings, collects sworn statements, and works with legal experts to ensure every complaint is taken seriously. At the federal level, House Democrats are developing a misconduct tracker, a centralized database to document abuses and civil rights violations by ICE. This tracker will allow patterns to be identified and help lawmakers respond more effectively to systemic problems. These efforts aim to create a comprehensive record for future legal action and legislative reform, ensuring that evidence is preserved and accessible for courts and policymakers alike. The goal is clear: to check federal power and ensure no agent operates above the law, no matter their rank or assignment. Accountability is becoming a central demand. This is a new era of oversight, with states and Congress stepping in where they believe the executive branch has failed to provide adequate checks and balances. The battle over ICE is now as much about transparency and accountability as it is about immigration policy itself, with lawmakers and activists demanding answers. And the evidence is piling up, one upload at a time, building a paper trail that could shape the future of immigration enforcement in America. Not everyone sees these oversight efforts as justice. Many Republicans view them as attacks on law enforcement. They argue ICE is simply enforcing laws Congress passed, and that Democrats are obstructing agents for political gain. Supporters say ICE protects national security and public safety, removing criminals and upholding order. The Republican base sees criticism of ICE as anti-police and a threat to the rule of law. Public portals and commissions are framed as witch hunts designed to paralyze the agency. For them, defending ICE is about defending the nation's borders and the integrity of federal law. The debate over ICE has become real, with viral raids like those on Canal Street in New York sparking outrage and direct action. New York's Public Evidence Portal and Illinois' Accountability Commission are state-level responses to federal enforcement tactics. These moves aren't just political, they're building legal records and warning federal agents that states are watching. In Congress, Democrats are creating a misconduct tracker to document civil rights violations, including cases of U.S. citizens wrongfully detained. This database could drive future legislation, budget cuts, or even impeachment proceedings. These efforts represent a coordinated push to rein in what many see as unchecked federal power. States and Congress are experimenting with new checks and balances in real time. Each action is a direct response to the Trump administration's aggressive policies. The fight over ICE is now a test of how far states and Congress can go to challenge executive authority. Where does the public stand? Recent polls show a majority of Americans now view ICE unfavorably. The constant stream of viral raids and family separations has damaged the agency's image, turning it into a symbol of unpopular immigration policy. Most Americans believe the crackdown has gone too far, even if they support enforcement in principle. The Democratic push for accountability now aligns with mainstream public sentiment, giving politicians cover to act. But a vocal minority still strongly supports ICE, energized by the administration's rhetoric and seeing enforcement as essential. The issue has become a culture war, reflecting two competing visions for America. The polling shows a lean, not a landslide, ensuring the conflict remains explosive. ICE is now at the heart of a national identity crisis. Why does law enforcement accountability matter? In a democracy, no one, not even ICE, is above the law. Agencies like ICE wield immense power detaining, deporting, and using force. With that power comes the need for robust oversight to prevent abuse and build public trust. Mechanisms like civilian review boards and public evidence portals aren't about punishing officers, they're about transparency and legitimacy. Without oversight, bad practices can become entrenched, and public cooperation collapses. Accountability allows agencies to learn from mistakes, improve policies, and remove bad actors. The push for ICE oversight is part of a broader demand for justice system reform. We expect accountability from police prosecutors and judges. ICE should be no different. The fight over ICE is the latest front in the struggle for just, transparent government. The badge doesn't grant a license to operate in the shadows. The public has a right to know. In October 2025, America faces a profound dilemma balancing national security with civil liberties. Supporters say ICE is essential for border control and law enforcement, and that oversight weakens security. Critics argue that enforcement must be humane, transparent, and constitutional. The debate isn't about whether to enforce immigration law but how to do it without crossing moral and legal lines. Should agents operate anonymously? Should enforcement trump family unity and human rights? The battle over ICE is forcing a national conversation about these questions. How we answer will define America's values for years to come.